It's, let the people who are experts in an area do what they do. On the other side, that's what most video game companies do. They allow the studios to take liberties and interpret the game and create, their property however they want it to be for the big screen. And without exception, every video game movie up to this point has been complete crap. So, Konami is completely within their rights to say, you know what? If we can't have our franchise brought to the big screen in a way that we approve and that we can get behind, we'd rather it not be on the big screen at all. You know what? Hats off to them. More power to them. It's an interesting decision. And, never say never in Hollywood. Never say never in Hollywood. George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, 15, 16, 17, 18 years ago, said there would never be another Indiana Jones film, and now we're talking about maybe a fifth. So never say never in Hollywood, but right now, Metal Gear Solid is dead. Looks like it's not happening. Let's move on to this. One film that has my attention, and at first seemed like it would be maybe kind of crappy, but I'm watching the trailers for it, and I got to tell you, the trailers are kind of winning me over, is the new remake of Clash of the Titans. And starring Avatar star Sam Worthington. And I'm telling you, this movie, the look of it is much better than I thought. It seems to have a great feel to it. And I'm not saying the movie's going to be good. I'm just saying it's got me excited. I am now anticipating seeing this film. I think I'm pretty pumped to see it. Now that being said, there was talk for some time that they were going to, once the film was finished shooting, they were going to then put it through the digital process of making the movie into a 3D movie. The director's just come out and said, you know what, there is simply not enough time. We do not have the time to make Clash of the Titans a 3D movie. And I will tell you right now, I can't imagine better news. Because I'm one of these guys who, I don't get into 3D. I'll be honest with you. Avatar was a bit of an exception. Avatar was an exception to the rule for me. But I got to tell you, and I've said this before on other podcasts I used to do, to me, 3D is a gimmick. It's kind of cool, and I get wowed by it for a few minutes, but after about 15 minutes with these stupid glasses on my face, trying to watch a movie through this tinted stuff, I find myself about 10 or 15 minutes after watching a movie in 3D that I would just be wishing I could take the glasses off and just watch the movie for the movie without the gimmick. And I know a lot of people disagree with me on that and have different opinions than me on that, and that's totally cool. No problem with that. I'm just saying for me personally, I don't dig 3D. It is a gimmick to me that gets tired pretty fast. And the fact that they're not going to do Clash of the Titans in 3D, to me, is not only not bad news, to me it's good news. So now I can just watch the movie for the movie without the gimmick attached to it, and I kind of like that. Let's move on to District 9. District 9 is one of those films that I think it might be fair to say was the surprise film of 2009. $30 million modest budget, and they made a great movie. A really great, solid movie. And this is interesting. Director Neil Blomkamp was asked about possibly doing another District 9. And he reaffirmed that he would be interested in going back to the District 9 universe, but not for doing a sequel. He's more interested in doing a prequel, showing how the aliens first arrived on Earth. And you know what? I gotta tell you, for me, that's bad news. I'm tired of prequels. I'm tired of prequels. All right? You started telling me a story. And this goes for Star Wars, this goes for X-Men, this goes for everything. You started telling me a story. I'm interested in what happens next. I'm interested in where does the story now go. You finished the story. I want to hear the next chapter. I am not interested in going backwards to find out how things got to where I already know they end up. What am I going to do? Watch a District 9 prequel and go, gosh, I wonder if these aliens who've arrived on Earth get put into some kind of shantytown living shacks Well, I already know the answer to that. I wonder if that kid becomes Darth Vader. You think? I'm tired of prequels. I'm absolutely tired of prequels. I don't want prequels. Now, the director said that if he did a sequel to District 9, he said it would feel just too much like a standard Hollywood film. Because Hollywood, the aliens come back to Earth and blah, blah, blah. Okay, maybe that feels a little bit like a standard Hollywood film, but it's a story I'd like to hear. And I think a lot of people would like to see. And basically, where I come down on this is, look, I'm okay if you don't want to do another District 9 film. That's okay. I'd like to see a sequel, but I'm okay if you don't want to do one. And I would understand if you didn't want to do one. But if you're going to do another District 9 movie, please don't do a prequel. I'm not interested. Last thing I want to talk about right now is G.I. Joe 2. G.I. Joe 2 Paramount has confirmed, and it's not a surprise, the first G.I. Joe film, despite all of its faults and all of its weaknesses, amongst which there are many. The film actually didn't wind up being as bad as I thought it would be. I thought the movie was going to be a complete pile of shit. And I have to admit, it wasn't. It had its redeeming qualities. There was some very good action. And look, I got to hand it to Stephen Sommers. He knows how to direct action sequences that are visually appealing, comprehensible to the audience, and just look good. And he did a good job with the action sequences, and there was entertainment value to be found in the first G.I. Joe film. Tons of weaknesses, though, but whatever. The film made over $300 million worldwide, which basically means automatically there's going to be a sequel. So it was with no surprise that Paramount came out and announced, hey, sequel time. And they have indeed greenlit a sequel. They have writers now developing the script. What will be interesting to see is if Stephen Sommers returns. For two reasons I find this interesting. Number one, aside from the action, I don't think Sommers did a very good job with the film. Did action terrific. But other than that, I don't think he did a very good job with the film. But the second reason I think it'll be interesting to see if they bring Sommers back is there were a lot of rumors prior to G.I. Joe coming out. There were a lot of rumors that the studio and Stephen Sommers, the director, were butting heads a lot. There were rumors of him being fired. There were rumors of him being barred from the editing room. I mean, a lot of these rumors were denied, and we don't know what's true and what's not, but there were a lot of rumors. And so I think it'll be very, very interesting to see what happens with that. It is not uncommon anymore for franchises to change directors. Bond franchise changes directors almost a film. Twilight changes directors every film. Harry Potter changes directors almost every film. It's not going to be a big deal if they change directors again. So I just think it's going to be interesting to see if they actually do change directors for the next G.I. Joe film. Anyway, that'll wrap it up for me for this installment of the CageCast. Thank you for joining me. Listen, I want to start reading viewer emails. So if you want to send me any email that you'd like for me to read on air, quote-unquote on air, keep it short, please, to read on air, or any questions you'd like to ask for me to answer on air, please email them to Campea, that's Campea, @gmail.com, and put in your subject line, show question. And then put in your comment that you'd like for me to read on air, or your question for me to answer, and I'll make sure I get around to doing those in the next installment. Once again, if you're watching this on YouTube and you like the audio-only version, head over to johncampea.net where you can get the downloadable MP3, or subscribe to the podcast. If you're listening to the podcast and like the video version of this, head on over. Well, you can find the link on my johncampea.net page to my YouTube page to get the video there and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you'd like. Thanks again for joining me, guys. Until next time, I'm John Campea.